in board exams 24-25, this is how it's going to look like. So the exams are going to happen probably February, March 2025. So next year. So no change from previous academic session. So previous academic session, the rule was competency focused questions in the form of MCQ, case-based question, source-based, integrated questions, or any other type, 50% of the question paper. I hope everyone is able to see this. And select response type MCQs, which is going to be 20%. Now here in this case, you can see that 50 plus 20, 70% of the question paper is going to be on competency-based assessment pattern. I'll repeat it. There was this circular that came last year. However, during the board exam, this 70% actually became more like 50%. I do not know, maybe due to some reason at the last moment, board actually changed the pattern, but it was supposed to be 70%. I think most of you might know that, and some of you are already the examiners, or you would have gone for the paper corrections, you would have known the change. So ideally it is supposed to be MCQ 70, and the constructed response question, short answer and long answer, is supposed to be 30%. Now this is no change as per the circular last time, but I think I'd be more confident on the type of question paper on the day when I get the question paper of the board exam. CBSE keeps changing, so I'm not sure about it. But anyways, this is official. This is completely official. And I've taken this from the CBSE circular list. Academic session 24-25 for 11th and 12th, competency focused questions, which includes case-based, source-based, 50%. Select response type 20%, which is 70%, and the remaining 30%. So very similar to what was there in 9th and 10th, but last time it was actually different. I guess constructed response was 40% and the MCQ was 60%. That was the pattern as per the circular last time. So this is the change. So you can see this 40%. So 23-24 ke liye 60% and 40% for, yeah, you're absolutely right. Got it? Yeah. So this is the circular that was released. So keeping this circular in mind, we wanted to talk about competency-based assessment. Irrespective of whatever type of assessments the government is prescribing, it's my humble request to all to learn about competency-based assessment in detail and try to apply that on your day-to-day life. You know, that really is going to help in improving our rational, basically critical thinking, analytical thinkings, logical reasoning, numerical ability. We'll go through some examples today. It's going to be really fun. And for the teachers who have already attended our training program in the past, this would be more like a revision for sure. So let's quickly get on to that. Now, we also understood that based on the industrial revolution that was happening out there, NEP became as a highly anticipated master plan to completely transform Indian education system. You know the reason for that, right? The reason was in the academic year 2009-10, there was this guy who came to conduct an exam in India, and India secured a very bad rank. It was OECD, the guy who came, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, that's a full form, who came and conducted an exam called as PISA, which is generally conducted for 15-year-old students. The students were there in 10th standard, and they scored really bad. So PISA, Program for International Students Assessment, and India secured a rank of, I think it was 72 out of 73 countries or 73 out of 74 countries. I'm not sure about this number, but I'm getting a little confused. If you can correct me, please, you can put it on the chat. So based on the vision and recommendations of NEP 2020, the best approach that has been envisaged is competency-based education. This is what we saw last time. In fact, we also got to understand what exactly is competency. We understood that amalgamation of knowledge, skill, and attitude with respect to solving a real-life problem is actually called as competency. We also took an example of a doctor. You know, somebody who's going to a doctor, the doctor should have the knowledge of medicine, knowledge of veins and arteries before actually using an injection on a patient. They should also have the skill of finding the veins, removing the air bubbles, injecting the medicine in the right way. Most importantly, the doctor should have the right attitude towards the patient's fear, reaction, and pain, attitude towards the disposal of the used injection vial. Yeah. Okay, so that's with respect to multiple numbers are coming. Various websites are coming up with various numbers, ma'am. So that's the reason. Anyways, let's continue on that. Then British Council was called back. Our India secured a very bad rank. It was called back. Could you please help us in understanding what went wrong. So UK, NARIC, British Council, Alpha Plus, Cambridge, all these guys came together and they submitted a report of the problems. The problems were corrected by our ministry and they wrote the corrective measures for the same. And that corrective measure today we call as NEP 2020. And in order to summarize the complete thing, I have a small video to be played. Some of you would have already seen this, but if not, please watch this. So this particular video is like a summary of what we discussed in the last Super Sunday workshop. Let's watch this.
I'm delighted that the British Council, in partnership with the Central Board of Secondary Education, is working on competency-based education.
Rote learning has been a common practice in schools across India. A system defined by memorization. A system that focuses more on content-based learning.
We stand alongside the Indian government to bring the best of UK expertise and knowledge to support the implementation of the National Education Policy 2020 in schools across the country through this project.
छात्रों की शिक्षा कैसी हो उसके लिए अध्यापकों को और सशक्त समर्थ होना चाहिए। मैं ये समझता हूँ कि इन दोनों के बीच बेहतर तालमेल होगा। दोनों देश मिलकर के दुनिया को एक अभिनव प्रयोग के रूप में और आगे बढ़ा करके ले जा सकेंगे। ऐसे ये कहते हुए मुझे दोनों को, काउंसिल को भी और CBSE को भी मुझे बधाई देनी है। मेरी शुभकामनाएं।
The new National Education Policy 2020 envisages a significant shift in the education ecosystem in India. It aims at preparing students for the 21st century and lays emphasis on competency-based education rather than an education which tests rote learning. CBSE has had a collaboration with the British Council and through it 3 agencies, Cambridge, NARIC and Alpha Plus, who are helping CBSE in attaining this objective.
With the visionary National Education Policy 2020, the focus has now shifted from content to competency. The new policy calls for a breakdown in artificial barriers between subjects and development of higher order thinking skills. It highlights the need for an assessment system that encourages real learning. Competency-based learning enables high-quality education in real-life context. It emphasizes on predefined competencies at each level of the student's learning journey and takes them beyond the confines of their textbook, linking their learning to life.
We've worked to ensure that the assessments which will be created assess both the higher order thinking skills, such as analysis and evaluation, and the recall and application of knowledge. We've taken good practice from a variety of sources and worked with CBSE experts to design a framework which will deliver valid assessment of these higher order skills and which will be well aligned to the learning outcomes set out in the NCERT curriculum.
To support competency-based education, British Council entered into a partnership with the Central Board of Secondary Education in March 2020 and launched the Competency-Based Education Project. As a part of this project, British Council and its knowledge partner Alpha Plus, in partnership with CBSE India, present the Competency-Based Assessment Framework. Designed in collaboration with UK experts, the assessment framework provides professional development to education system leaders, teachers, and examination designers.
Our role is to support master trainers and DSTAG mentors with the skills that they need to support teachers in the rollout of competency-based learning into the classroom. Our approach combines international expertise from the Faculty of Education, along with deep local knowledge from our Cambridge International team in India, to help produce a bespoke program that is aligned with the CBSE curriculum.
Under the direction and guidance of CBSE, the project uses assessment as a driver and motivator of change in teaching quality in the classroom.
The unique feature of this project is its whole system approach that focuses on creating an enabling environment. It helps CBSE in change management. It teaches for the continuous professional development.
Overall, the Competency-Based Education Project provides mentorship support for the teachers, embeds new learning into classroom teaching practice, guides reading, English, maths and science teachers of classes 6 to 10 to drive practical learning, strengthens the capacity of schools to create high-quality competency-based question papers.
The project team combined a document review with on-the-ground experience, meeting with students, teachers, and CBSE staff. We focus on Standard 10 for maths, science, and reading, comparing to well-established international education systems. The final report made a number of recommendations to enhance teaching, curriculum design, and, in particular, assessment.
The Competency-Based Education Project aims to bring about systemic change in teaching, learning, and assessment practices by 2024. The project will not only make a lasting impact on the education ecosystem, but will also help students realize their potential so that they can fully contribute to making the country and the world safe, sustainable, prosperous, and peaceful.
I thank all the UK knowledge partners and the teachers and education experts in both countries who've worked to make the project happen. I'm sure that it will make a positive contribution to enabling high-quality teaching to improve the learning experience and outcomes of all students in CBSE schools. British Council is committed to supporting India's education sector and its knowledge ambitions. We've been working in education for more than 70 years here, and this continuing rich and fruitful association brings benefit to both our countries.
So that's with respect to the collaboration of CBSE with British Council. I'll be sharing the link of the video right now on the chat as well. So the point here is, of course, some of you might think that why does British Council have to play a role in talking about Indian education system? So it's just that when there is a third person's viewpoint, what exactly has gone wrong, has gone right. So there's going to be a better way of analytics, something better. But we can't find this video on the CBSE portal, but you can definitely find this on British Council portal. So from there, this was taken, and I'm sharing this on the chat, and you can actually watch it a little later. And if you are presenting about competency-based education to anyone, I think this will be a very good video to begin with in order to give a proper summary of how it all started and why is it necessary, some features of competency-based education. So this will give a very good idea on CBE in India. Yeah, that's right. That's right, absolutely. Anyways, let me quickly start, share with you what exactly are we talking about with respect to competency-based education systems. And first of all, when we talk about assessments, this particular education system, which is competency-based education, is somewhere called as assessment-driven system, assessment-driven education system. It got its origin somewhere from PISA exam. It's starting from there, right? So it was not about that our children in India did not have knowledge. They had sufficient knowledge, but somewhere they were lacking with its application part or the imagination of its application. Today, if I tell the children that Pascal's law is used in a car braking system, they're not going to open a car and understand, how the braking system works or do the mechanics of it. But the ability to imagine, the competency to understand how the braking system and Pascal's law are related to each other, or hydraulics and pressure are related to each other, that's where this assessment system plays an important role. So here it's going to be more from the perspective of assessments. When you keep talking about any chapter, it's going to be more on inquiry based learning. And there's also this nice pedagogical term which we will be discussing in the upcoming Super Sunday workshop, which is going to be on competency based education lesson planning. And during the lesson planning process, we'll also discuss on the pedagogical aspects that are required for competency-based education. So the link for that will also be present on our website, which I will be sharing a little later. But the point here is the classes are going to be completely assessment driven. The more you ask questions, the right questions, better is the clarity that the children will actually receive. Let's quickly understand the assessments we're talking about. And all the teachers out there, just revise this as soon as possible. There are some different types of assessments: diagnostic assessments, which more from before even conducting a class, before even starting a concept, we try to ask questions and diagnose how much the prerequisites are ready with the children. If that's not ready, then you have a bridge course created in order to, even if it's not a bridge course, You repeat things that was taught in the previous period, or the last week, or the last month, or even the last academic year, right? So diagnostic is all about to test the children a little early before even starting the content. Formative assessment is right after conducting a particular topic. It's like, I just now finished, just a second pehle, and then immediately you ask a question. Formative assessments are really, really very, very important, especially with respect to competency based assessment. Summative assessment is culmination of multiple concepts put together. It could be a chapter, it could be two or three concepts in a particular chapter, but it's like, more like a capstone assessment. You complete almost everything and then you ask the questions to the students. These are some of the common assessment that are present out there: norm referenced, criterion referenced, and many more, many more. But here we are going to talk about only competency based assessment. So what exactly do we mean by it? So with respect to assessment, especially when it is of multiple types, I'm not talking about competency based assessment. There are different type of assessment items. In the previous case, we understood about different type of assessments. Under each of these, there could be different type of questions. Some could be multiple choice, some could be match the following, some could be picture identity, jigsaw puzzle, flashcard games, hotspots, short answer, descriptive, concept map, etc., etc. So these are going to be different sort of assessment items. But with respect to competency based assessment, the assessment items are standard. What are those? Let's understand that. So these are the major type of competency based assessment. Um Error correction could be one of them. Debugging. Okay, sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. We can look into this. Anyways, the video or the session is going to be on YouTube as well. You can use the reference over there. So simple MCQs and complex MCQs are the two major categories. And under complex MCQs, there are multiple categories. So the first one is called as multiple selection. Multiple selection does not mean multiple options are selected. So if a question is present, A, B, C, D is the option. A and C is the correct answer. No, that's not multiple selection. That is multiple correct answer type of questions. What exactly is multiple selection? We'll go with the example right after this. Assertion and reasoning, one favorite type of competency based assessment. Multiple correct answers where multiple options are correct. Case based and source based questions, and sequencing is another important criteria. So these are the major 5 categories under which competency based assessments could be categorized. So down the line, when yeah, Sadaf, ma'am, you're absolutely correct. Down the line, whenever you get into a model paper of a competency based assessment, that particular assessment item, generally under competency based assessment, they don't call that as a question, they call that as an assessment item. So that particular assessment item should definitely fall under these 6 categories. One is simple MCQ, the rest are 5 complex MCQ. So how are they defined? Let's understand with the structure of an MCQ. So with respect to assessments, there is something called as a stem is basically the main root of the question or the item. Okay, and then we have got an option and key and distractors. There must be a question over here. Does that really mean that competency based assessment is always multiple choice? Actually, it's not the case. It's not mandatory for competency based assessment to be always multiple choice questions. Competency could also be measured while a child is working on an experiment, and the way he's working, there could be certain rubrics on which you can assess the child. We'll talk about that in some other session, but as of now, as per the CBSE norms with respect to our board pattern, and even the shuffle for that matter, let's stick to this particular type. So where we have stem, then we have options, which has got distractors and the key. Now, what is very important over here, is the key more important or the distractors? It seems that according to competency based assessment, distractors are more important than the answer key, because distractors, they're not given as a wrong answer. So you can see that it's actually called as distractor. The options have to be so close to each other, so deliberately close to each other, so that when the child is marking one of the distractor as the right answer, a teacher gets an information, oh, during my teaching, I thought of teaching something like this, but the child thought about that, something like that. You're able to understand, right? A misconception. The ability of a child or ability of a teacher to find what the child has misunderstood can be possible only with a distractor. So there cannot be a question like, what is, among the following, find the person who actually discovered electrons. And the options are MS Dhoni, Sachin Tendulkar, Shah Rukh Khan, and Thompson, JJ Thompson. So it's obvious that JJ Thompson is the right answer, right? The other plays are cricket. So this is not the right way of asking a question. Yeah. So the point here is that distractors have to be so plausible in each other. They need to be very close to each other so that that particular distractor gives another learning outcome, basically a misconception of something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is understanding levels in the learners. Absolutely. So this, which of the following planets is nearest to Earth? You can see that Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter are the options. यहाँ पे which of the following planets is basically the students have to do the action. The condition is nearest to Earth. So what I'm trying to say is every assessment item should have two components. One is the condition, the other one is action. The condition over here is nearest to Earth. And what is the action that you're supposed to do? Which of the following planets? So you have to select one of them. So condition and action put together will come with a right answer, which is key, and the others are distractors. I hope you got an idea of how the structure of an MCQ looks like, teachers. See, this is more like a training program, and I would just want to introduce you to the world of competency-based assessments. The details of this is actually from our training CPD program. Some of the teachers who have already attended our CPD, they might know this, including this question. So you can participate for detailed understanding, but that's okay. In which of the following circles the shaded part represents 3/7? Can somebody please answer this? Yeah, we can use elimination method to choose the correct option. Supriya ma'am, that's really an intelligent answer. Mostly for competitive exams, that's the suggestion given, right? But in competency-based assessment, it's a little different. I'll talk about the difference quite shortly, ma'am. So C, everybody comes with C as the right answer. Okay. B for Bindu, so B is the right answer. Is that so, ma'am? Go ahead. Just randomly come up with an answer. In which of the following circles the shaded part represents 3/7? Uh-huh. I'm really sorry to ask a maths question to majority of the teachers out there. It's just to represent how a simple MCQ looks like. Okay, so here in this case, with respect to competency-based assessment, there is one outcome called as clarity in the concepts. Here most of you are coming up with the answer as C, which could be the right answer. Let's talk about it a little later. But the point here is, if I talk about why not A, that itself is like 10 minutes class for me. If I talk about why not B, that is another 10-minute session for me. Here, more than the key, for a teacher, the distractors play a major role in conducting your classes. Now, can somebody say why not A for that matter? Everybody's coming with option C as the right answer, but why not A? A has got 7 parts and 3 are shaded. So 3/7 could be the right answer, right? Could be the right answer. Any maths teacher out there or anyone out there who would like to? So is it important for fractions to be equal parts? Does that mean like equal parts is actually called as fractions? Why not? Okay, proper fraction. Each part is not equal. Yes. Okay, some people say A is not equally divided. They're not equal parts. So okay. Okay, equal division is necessary. Correct. That's great. So the moment we talk about this, I think there are multiple answers coming up, and it is also mentioned in the textbook, which we generally skip during the explanation. Fractions actually represents equal parts. So here in this case, as you rightly said, when we talk about the parts equality over here, it's probably not equally distributed. Hence, that cannot be the right answer, as we are asking about 3/7. So C should be the most appropriate answer. You're absolutely correct. So on a similar manner, if I discuss on B, if I discuss on D, that's where my education is shifting towards competency-based assessment or competency-based education. You're doing the same job. It's just that there is a question present in front, and with that, there is some clarity happening. And there could be some better questions right after this, which can be even more at a different level. We'll talk about that. So this is basically simple MCQ. Let's go to the other type, which is called as complex MCQ. So under complex MCQ, we've got these multiple selection, assertion and reasoning, sequencing, case-based, multiple correct answers. Let's go with one more example. This particular example, I think you should know. Yeah, here we go. There were 3 different running tracks at a place as shown below. I think you're able to see this. 3 different running tracks. So this is a track, this is a track, this is a 1, 2, 3. Now this is multiple selection. A jogger kept his water bottle on the ground and started to jog on a track. He observed that he remained at the same distance from the bottle. Okay. Which track or tracks could he have been running on? Come on, teachers, try to guess this answer. So here you can see that there are 3 options given in the question itself. 1, 2, 3. and the ABCD options has got only one or two, only one or three. So basically you're selecting out of those three, multiple of them if necessary. That is why this is called as multiple selection. Okay. Piyali ma'am, you must remember, and you've you remember this. Damayanti ma'am comes with A, Rashmita ma'am, many come up with B as well, Nidhi ma'am. Okay, A, D, option C. Okay, okay. Please do not categorize this under math, science, English, and social. Teachers out there, if you think like that, competency based education is totally against it. It's one type of an education system which heavily focuses on interdisciplinary approach. A maths teacher without having a functional or a basic knowledge on social science cannot actually teach mathematics effectively as per the competency based education rules and regulations. Yeah, so here in this case, if whatever subject, irrespective of that, please try to answer this question. Square and circle, same distance. Okay, okay. D is the right answer. Let's go with the declaration over here. So everyone who told the answer to be, everyone who said the answer to be B, C, D are wrong. A is the correct answer. A jogger kept his water bottle on the ground and started to jog on a track. He observed that he remained at the same distance from the bottle. That can happen only with the circle. We will not get into the explanation part of this considering our timeline teaches today, but only A is the correct answer, not the others. Yeah, you're right, Sarabjit ma'am, absolutely. Let's go with the next one. Let's go with the next one. So here in this case, I would like to repeat, multiple selection means not multiple correct answers. So A, B, C, D may say it's only one option correct, but that particular option can talk about multiple options that are present in the question itself or in the assessment item itself. You can see that circle, square, and triangle, all the three are present. You could have selected 1 and 2, you could have selected 2 and 3, so you could have selected anything, right? So that's why they call it as multiple selection. You ended up selecting only one, and that's completely fine because you've got options over there, right? Let's go with the next question. Assertion and reasoning type of question. I think most of you know this. You would have already undergone this as well. So here in this case, assertion and reasoning comes up with two statements, and each of the statement has to be justified with the other statement. Basically, the first statement has to be justified with the second statement. So assertion means strongly somebody saying that Earth experiences a regular cycle of day and night. And there is somebody who's saying that Earth revolves around the sun. That is the reason for it. Now here in this case, you need to look into the statements and tell me the correct answers. You can please go ahead. You're correct. Correct, Vijaya ma'am. You're absolutely correct for the previous question. So you can come up with the right answer over here. Assertion and reasoning is considered to be one very good way of testing somebody's competency. The way they evaluate, the way they interpret the data and things like that. And this particular question specifically will be confusing. Assertion and reasoning. It's not that easy to answer also. Okay, people are coming up with multiple answers. I think except D, everybody told all the other alphabets, A, B, C, right? Nobody's with D. Remember, the least expected answer is mostly the correct answer. No, I'm just kidding. Don't get carried away with such punchlines. You know, sometimes if the stars properly align, probably if your name starts with the letter A, the option could also be A. Could be. Okay. Okay, let's discuss this. So here in this case, ma'am, which of the following is true about the above statements? So in order to solve a particular, acha, you're very confident about B, Shweta ma'am. Shwetambari Shiva. What a name. Yeah, definitely your parents did some R&D there. So Earth experiences a regular cycle of day and night, and Earth revolves around the sun. Let's try to understand a simple, method to solve the problem. Anytime whenever assertion and reasoning questions comes into picture, let us do the 3 steps with which we can find the right answer. Step number 1: always find out if the assertion, read the statement of assertion and check if it is factually correct or not. If it is factually correct or not. So here in this case, Earth experiences a regular cycle of day and night. Yeah, it's factually correct. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, assertion is absolutely correct. Now, step number 2, read the reason individually and check if it is factually correct or not. Earth revolves around the sun. Yeah, of course. That is also factually correct. So both are correct. Now, the step number 3 is the most important. Read the assertion and reason together by adding a word called as because after assertion and check if the whole statement is factually correct or not. So here in this case, Earth experiences a regular cycle of day and night because Earth revolves around the sun. Is that factually correct? Earth experiences a regular cycle of day and night because Earth revolves around the sun. No, exactly. That is not a correct statement at all. Hence, look at the statement. Both are correct, and the reason is the correct explanation. No, both are correct, but the reason is not the correct explanation is our right answer. So everyone who said answer to be A, C, D are wrong. B for ball is the correct answer. So when it's because of the rotation. You're absolutely right, Shweta ma'am. So rotation and revolution. Yeah, the simple question, right? So you could have directly asked the students, Earth experiences a regular cycle of day and night because Earth dash around the sun. The students can write revolution or rotation. That's fill in the blanks way of asking a question, a traditional way of asking a question. But look at the clarity just by making it assertion and reasoning. So the whole outlook of teaching a particular chapter through competency-based education is entirely different. It's super different with super level of clarity, and many times even as a teacher we get trapped in the confusion over here, right? So step number 1, read the assertion individually and check if it is factually correct or not. Step number 2, reason. Read it individually and check if it is factually correct or not. If both are correct, then definitely go with option A or option B, because those are the only two options which says both are correct. Ignore C and D. And finally, the last point, read the complete, step number 3, read the complete statement and with the word because after recession, and check if the whole statement is factually correct or not. That will give us complete clarity on what is the right answer. Nice, no? This is assertion and reasoning. Let's go with B, because Earth rotated on. You're right, Balavani ma'am. You're absolutely right. Let's go with the next type of question, and that's called a sequencing and ordering. Sequencing and ordering. This will also give you very good clarity, teachers. Observe the 4 connected incidents mentioned below. Low crop yield, unexpected drought, price of food grains rises, low supply of grains. Which of the following is the logical order of the incidents? Come on, tell me. The teachers who have attended the CPD last time, you should have already told the right answer. Yeah, and Piali ma'am, there you are. Perfect. Okay, most of you go with answer C. Okay. It is very important for your teachers, if the principals are listening today, if the teachers are listening or the coordinators, please encourage your school teachers to frame questions of this order. Now for this you need multiple samples which are already available on the CBSE website, which I'm going to show you another few minutes, and then you can guide the teachers on that. No, most of them with C. Okay, let's check that. Which of the following is the logical or a logical order of the incidents? Most of you are going with C. So 2, unexpected drought. Okay. 1, low crop yield. Okay. Unexpected drought. So because of that low crop yield, then you said 4, low supply of grains. Okay, makes sense. And 3, price of food grains rises. Absolutely correct. Yeah. 2143 is correct. You're right. Everybody's right. Yeah. but something really interesting over here. Actually, price of food grains rises. Okay, that's the first experience. Why? Because low supply of grain. Why? Because of low crop yield. Why? Because of unexpected drought. So I think 3, 4, 1 and 2 is also correct answer. Option number D. So C and D both are correct. Actually not, only one is considered to be the correct answer. But if you want to debate on that, D is the right answer or C is the right answer, we shall use the CPD platform for that, but not right now. Let's go with the next question. You can discuss that with your colleagues. Then comes the case-based questions. Now, case-based questions has an interesting thing. Only difference is they have a case or a part of the textbook already present in the question, and it could be textbook or it could be an external information or a news as well, and that is present here right on the top. And the questions are framed under this category. Remember, under case-based question, we can have simple MCQ, assertion and reasoning, multiple correct answer. It could be part of case-based as well. Case-based means there is a case given and let the children answer based on the case. So here in this case, you will get to understand basically about acid rain, and Taj Mahal is actually losing its color, and there's a lot of corrosion happening. Corrosion or erosion? I think both, right? Yeah, so because of the nitrogen oxides emitted by the nearby industries, etc., etc. So all this information is present, and then the students try to answer the questions. So the questions that are following after a particular case after a particular case are considered to be competency based questions again, and that can be simple MCQ, multiple correct answers, or assertion reasoning. It could be anything. Only thing is you have an extra case over here. Interesting, right? Now, source-based question and case-based questions are very similar to each other. Source-based is basically with respect to an information or a happening that happened very recently. It could be about the rains that washed Dubai completely, or United Arab Emirates for that matter. And or it could be a news on the latest war that's happening around the world actually, or it could be related to the latest developments in the elections that are happening. It could be anything, but there is a source from where it's taken from there, not necessarily to be part of the textbook. And it could also be a fiction, but if it is a fiction, it's more like a case based question. I think you got the picture with respect to case based as well, right? Oh, here the answer is A. Okay, surprisingly, the answer is actually not A. What will be the nature of the rainwater in an unpolluted area? It's going to be slightly acidic, which is going to be option B. Ritumam is correct over there. Yeah, B is the right answer. It's because of the carbon dioxide present in the air and it forms carbonic acid. Right, ma'am? Am I right, Shweta ma'am? Yes, you're absolutely right, Sadaf ma'am. That's a very well put statement over there. Interdisciplinary approach. Finally, coming to the last type of question, and that's called this multiple answer type of question. Now, this particular question is taken from SAFL question paper actually. SAFL is structured assessment for analyzing learning. So the question is: the teacher asked the students to draw a rectangle on their notebooks. Four of them drew them in the following way. Which of them is or are correct? Now, this is multiple answer type. Probably A, B, C, D all are correct. Probably A and B is correct and C and D is wrong. Or probably A and C is correct and B and D is wrong. So you could please check on that and you can start answering, ma'am, if you can. Come on, go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead. What do you think is the correct answer? Already people have... No, only one question, only one option cannot be correct over here, teachers. No, you have to mention two or three options. It could be one also, no doubt in that. But okay, A and C is the correct answer. A and C is the correct answer. The question is rectangle. Teachers, come on. Four of them drew them in the following way. Which of them is or are correct? Rectangle. Okay. A, B, C are correct. It's an open-ended question. No. Come on. You're going to have a gentle smile on your face right now. Teachers, the right answer is, considering the time, I would like to declare the right answer. Everyone who said, okay, A is part of the correct answer. Yes, absolutely. A is part of the correct answer. C is part of the correct answer. No, C is not a rectangle. C is not a rectangle. It's not a rectangle. Is B the part of the correct answer? Yes, B is part of the correct answer because it's a square. D is part of the correct answer. No, it's a cube. So the right answer over here is A and B. A and B for Bombay. These are the two correct answers. Multiple answer type question. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the teachers who said C are smiling right now. Yes, you need to smile a little bit. So C is not the correct answer. We'll talk about the reasoning of all these questions probably during our session in the CPD program. And now I would like to show you the last thing. Where do we get all the references and where do we learn about competency-based assessment in detail? So you would have got an understanding of competency-based education in the previous session on, basically we understood the key features of it. I hope you're able to see this. Yes, you're able to see this. These were the major features that we understood. So it has to be there has to be clear learning outcomes. We'll talk about learning outcomes and objectives in the next session, which is going to be competency based lesson planning, competency based education lesson planning. And the session link is already there on our website and it is also coming on the chat right now. If you want to register today itself, you can register, and please forward the message to your other colleagues. Student centered learning, competency based assessment, real life orientation, these are some of the features of competency based education which we saw last week. This will get continued to the next week as well. But the point here is, if you want to learn about all these things in a detailed manner, you need to go to the CBSE academic website. I would like to show you right from the beginning. Go to the cbseacademic.nic.in website, and right over here you will be able to see CBE resources, competency based education resources. The moment you click on this, you'll get to see something called as learning frameworks. You have got NCRT learning outcome document, competency based framework for literacy. You can see scientific literacy, mathematical literacy, and reading literacy. Now, these are the three literacy because in PISA exam, according to our competency based assessment pattern today, as on today, we are not creating anything new. We are just following whatever OECD did in the past with PISA exam. So whatever PISA exam followed, the complete blueprint of that is getting continued to our education system also. That's it. So the PISA exam was focused on three parts of question paper, which was reading, mathematic, and scientific. These are the three literacy under which. And one really good part of our government is they actually worked on this to a large extent, and they came up with the best practices for, you know, teaching competency based education. You should see this document. It's a well written document for each of these three subjects. So for example, pedagogical approaches for developing PISA competencies. Indirectly, pedagogical approaches for developing competency abilities in the students. Spiral learning could be one of them. Experiential learning could be one of them. Under experiential learning, there are multiple categories. There is cooperative learning could be one of them. Then there is something called as jigsaw groups could be one of them. Let me talk about jigsaw groups. Then which is basically cooperative learning. And then I wanted to show you inquiry based learning could be one of them. I found inquiry based learning to be the most interesting. That's working in my class at least. Yeah. Correct, at least in my class at least. So for that only, during our training program also with our computer science curriculum, when we made our content, we got the 5E model written under each and every period's lesson plan. So you could see that if this is so, engage the students for 3 minutes under so and so category, engage them, then explore on a certain topic karke. So even during our computer science curriculum preparation, which is completely on competency based education, period wise lesson plans were drafted for the teachers convenience, and under that you can get to see all these things. And this has that these are developed further, and it is present on the LMS as well for the teachers who are using our computer science curriculum. But anyways, the point here is, irrespective of whatever subject that we are getting into, this is mandatory, somewhere heavily mandatory, I would say. When I come down, I think information and communication technology, even for ICT, they spoke about competency based education. One nice thing about this document, I would like to show you this. See this. Uh, this will be mainly useful for the teachers. Along with the chapter number and name, for example, chapter name body movements, strand is life sciences, blah, blah, blah. They mention the learning outcomes. You will not be able to see the screen properly, teachers. I would request you to please go through the link and see it. There is something called as learning objectives. After learning outcomes, learning objectives, and more importantly, explain, evaluate, and interpret. So what category of competency does this chapter fall under, or does this learning objective fall under? To that level, CBSE has already worked on this particular document for every chapter, but it's only for science, maths, and reading literacy, English. The other subjects, it is still supposed to be worked on. So when you go to the CBE resources website, you can see that there is something called as teacher resources. Under teacher resources, for each and every grade, there are some lesson plans already present, which we'll see in the next Super Sunday workshop as well. And the right pedagogical method to adopt for every chapter, that will also be present. So all these sample lesson plans and everything. But with respect to assessments, to know about the assessments in detail, you can please come to the assessment section under CB resources. You will get to see question bank uploaded by CBSE for various subjects, for various classes. Now, there are multiple bodies that have submitted the question. CBSE developed their own question bank for class 10 that can be accessed from here. CBSE developed question bank for competency based education in collaboration with Sri Aurobindo Society and ASA. ASA is Australian Council for Educational Research. That is ASA, and they developed 6 to 10 ka question paper. There is this British Council and Alpha Plus. They also developed a question paper in which the way we saw the different types of assessment, it's present here as well. Then practice question papers was contributed by another organization called as Educational Initiatives, that is also present on the CBSE portal. So in that way, you'll get to see completely. And if you want to understand competency based assessment in a little more detail, right after this session, you could come back to this link where they talk about principles of assessment, assessment design approach, objective questions, item writing approach, etc., etc. Everything is present over here. So this particular portal or the CBE resources under CBSE academic website is going to play a key role in understanding. This is what you're following already. That's fantastic. In understanding what exactly competency based education assessment is. So that's pretty much about the session today, ma'am. I think everybody would have got some clarity on what exactly CBA is. We'll be talking about competency based education lesson planning down the line quite shortly, and in the next Super Sunday workshop. So every Super Sunday, I would request you to please register on our upcoming events, and you'll get to know what is the topic next week. In case if anyone is interested in participating in on CPD program, that is also happening. The next batch is starting, of course, tomorrow. One batch is starting, and the next is on May 16th. There also you can actually participate, and we'll see. We'll meet you there, and we'll NEET exam invigilation next Sunday. Yeah, NEET exam is there. Yeah, my brother is writing. Any alternative? No, this the whatever happens Sunday 10 to 11, I have to be here due to some compulsions, and nice compulsions, by the way. So I would request you to please watch the session on YouTube little later. Yeah. So that's it from my side, teachers. Great interacting with one and all. Please use these platforms to get yourself exposed and be aware on the latest developments in the world of education. Uh, be confident while talking to your principal, to your colleagues, and that confidence can come only with knowledge. And these sessions are just to impart those knowledge. I would request you to please share these information of Super Sunday workshop to many of your colleagues, so that I know that constantly there are some 500 to 1000 people participating, or down the line at least 10,000 or 1 lakh people, motivating me to work towards this in a more religious manner. I'm already trying to be as religious as possible, but still I would like to be even more. Thank you so much. Great interacting with one and all. I would like to meet you in the next Super Sunday workshop. Jai Hind. Any questions you can ask me on the chat. I'll be happy to answer right now. Thank you, Sadaf ma'am. Thank you, Reshma ma'am. Natalia ma'am, you will get the certificate onto your mail for attending the Super Sunday workshop. It could be submitted to your principals uh, for your mandatory CPDRs. Yeah. Thank you, Aarti ma'am. Thank you so much. The reflection form is there on the chat. Thank you, Bindu ma'am. You'll be getting your certificate, Bhagyalakshmi ma'am. Thank you, Mahalakshmi ma'am. Means a lot. Great. Tina ma'am, I would request you to please mail swati@superteacher.in, or please message to my number. My number is there on the reflection form. Check that right on the top. Thank you so much. CPD link is not getting submitted. Asha ma'am, please message me separately. I'll be able to share it separately. Thank you, Shalini ma'am. Means a lot. Pratibha ma'am, you can find Hindi lesson plans on the CB resources website. Same way. Over there, I think the first subject itself is Hindi. I think Urdu, and right after Urdu, it's Hindi. Yeah, please check that. Shrishti ma'am, thank you. Thank you so much. Bharti ma'am, thank you. Kajal ma'am, certificates are dispatched. You should have received it. Please mail swati@superteacher.in. Thank you, Swapna ma'am. Thank you, Kirti ma'am. Thank you, Salpa ma'am. You have attended this at least 3 to 4 times in the past, Salpa ma'am. I'm very sure. You've been super regular. Thank you. Thank you, Lipika ma'am. Thank you, Hemlata ma'am, Gayatri ma'am. Ruxana ma'am, thank you so much. Good to see you. Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am. Nisha ma'am, thank you so much. Alice ma'am, thank you. Meenal ma'am, Chandrika ma'am. Next Super Sunday workshop, it's there on the website, ma'am, under the upcoming events category. The link will also be coming on the chat right away. Swati, please put the link for the next Super Sunday workshop. You can be part of WhatsApp group or Telegram group where we constantly upload the next Sunday's topic. So the link for Telegram and WhatsApp is also coming on the chat right now. The teachers who have completed your B.Ed just now, few days back or for a few years back, apart from the knowledge that you have from the context point of view, the concept point of view, right now what's really important is to be updated with the latest changes that's happening in the Ministry of Education. And I'm very sure there's going to be a massive change of looking at school Very different. It's coming on the chat, Vanshika ma'am. Sadaf ma'am, you have to take the questions from the CBSE website, and then you have to redistribute it to the students. It's there on the Diksha portal also. Yeah. Thank you, Anisha ma'am. Thank you, Adrita ma'am, Minal ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swapna ma'am. The next Super Sunday workshop link is coming on the chat. Swati, please put the next Super Sunday workshop link. I'll also find it here. So go to superteacher.in website under the upcoming section. So I am sharing my screen to show you where it is present. Thank you. Vanshika ma'am, please message me. So you need to come to the website called as superteacher.in. Under that, you have the upcoming events. Click on that and you'll get to see. So the CPD program that's starting on 29th April. It is no 19th April. I think there is a mistake over here. This should be 29th April. I'm really sorry about it. So it's mentioned properly over here, April 29th to 5th May. Swati, please check this. There is a correction required. And then competency-based assessment, which is today's session, 28th April. And the next session is on competency-based education lesson planning, which is going to be on 5th May. That's it. That's it. So you can check that. Thank you, Tamanna ma'am. Yes, Renuka ma'am, even I'm surprised how it got changed. Sunipa ma'am, once Zoom reaches 500 level, you won't be able to join on Zoom. But I hope you got the insights on the YouTube. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so that brings me to the end. So thank you so much, teachers. I'll see you again in the next Super Sunday workshop. Bye.